welcome to the Navigating Energy Codes Stories from Indigenous Builders webinar. Before we get started, I'd like to take a moment to recognize the traditional Indigenous lands where Eco-Canada's office is based in Calgary. At Eco-Canada, we're committed to working towards respectful acknowledgement, collaboration, and reconciliation with Indigenous peoples across Canada. This starts with acknowledging our honor and privilege to live and work within the Treaty 7 territory. Today we are presenting from the City of Calgary, home to the Métis Nation of Alberta, Districts 5 and 6. We would also like to take this time to acknowledge the traditional territories and oral practices of the Niitsitapi, home of the Blackfoot Confederacy, which includes the Siksika, the Piikani, the Kainai First Nations, and the Tsuut'ina Goodstoney, which include Chiniki, Bearspaw, and Wesley First Nations.
Hi, everyone. I'm so happy that all of you are here. Before I start this amazing discussion about the NCB benefits in the Indigenous communities that I have here present with us, I would just like to give a little of a context about how we met and how we built this relationship. And I think I am good to say that we built a relationship because I mailed you guys at least once a week. So I think it's safe to say, right? Say yes. Anyways, so these indigenous communities are piloting our resources that were developed because of a project that Eco Canada it's developing, which is called Code Acceleration for Indigenous Communities project. And the main goal of this project is to bring awareness to the indigenous communities about how beneficial it is to follow codes, right? Like because when you follow codes, your houses tend to last longer, and you also save so much in cost. Chantel can talk a little bit more about that in a minute. Um, so yes, so these two resources that the communities here are piloting are one of them is the toolkit, which has all the NCB and NACB information, which is that like is and what I mean, right? Like it's the national codes for buildings and the national energy codes for buildings. Um, so it gives all so the toolkit, which is this gigantic thing over here. Oh, can you see it? Oh my God, no, I wanted to show, but it's like it's almost 500 pages. It's very complex, but because it's big, it's because it's all NCB and NACB to indigenous contexts, right? So it talks a little bit about all the zones that the indigenous communities are. So how like these two codes change, right? Because the more north you are, more colder. So how do you do your windows? How you do your insulation, right? I just want to see if hopefully it will show because I want to show some it's not gonna show up. Too bad, but I wanted to show because there's like very big pictures about how the windows should be, how they will come together with isolation and the framing and so on. um and there's also case studies about new builds and retrofitted buildings all over Canada in regards to the indigenous communities. So it's a beautiful document. And the other resource that I was talking about, about the courses. So we have one course and 5 courses. I like to divide them like that because one of the courses is online, and it just gives an introduction about all NCB and ACB and talks a little bit about the trainings, the 5 other trainings. And what is special about these 5 trainings is that Eco Canada goes to you. We bring our energy experts all over Canada that are very familiar with the different zones. So we bring them in inside your community. We set a base there for 5 days, and we deliver this training, which encompasses understanding both codes, then how do you apply to indigenous contexts, how do you communicate with stakeholders, right? Because when you look at this document, it's so technical. There's so many technicalities that if you're not aware, it's very hard to navigate. So this course is exactly for that. So you understand the technical things. So you understand when construction is being made, on auditing is getting done, right? Yeah. So then talks a little bit about understanding and strategizing audits, and the last one is it gives the torch back to the communities about how you can advocate for leadership about sustainability. So yes, so now, oh yes, Haley, would you mind sharing the link of the project with the people so they can take a look if somebody's understanding and knowing more, and also my email address, so you guys can get a hold of me anytime, and we can talk a little bit more because maybe your community is interested in piloting this project as well. So just let me know. So now I will pass, I'll give the light to the Indigenous communities so they can share how the NCB and how the NCB has been for them, right? So I will start inviting Chantel to introduce herself so she can say where she's from, which community she's from, and yeah, then we can go around. Thank you, Chantel.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Chantel Kijigo. I'm the Community Energy Coordinator for Chippewa Thames First Nations. We're located in southwestern Ontario, and I'm so very thankful and happy to be here with you.
Oh, okay. So, all right. So now I will pass it on to Savannah.
Hello, everyone. My name is Savannah Lobsinger. I'm the Housing and Infrastructure Coordinator for Matachewan First Nation. Our nation is located in northeastern Ontario, and we have a very small community. So I just actually did the training that Vanessa was just talking to you about. So I'm excited to share that with you all today.
Well, thank you. And now, last but not least, Ostap.
Hi everyone, my name is Ostap Kaminsky. I am on reserve housing and school maintenance training program manager for Dakota Ojibwe Tribal Council, and we serve 5 communities in Southwest Manitoba. A lot of
And
work to do. We have some large communities, we have some smaller ones. So
and
happy to be here.
Haley.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry. And Haley, if you could send their information on the chat as well, they are great to share the email addresses with you guys as well. And yeah, if you have any questions or if you need any collaborations in between communities, I'm pretty sure they will be happy to do so. So I think we can start by, I'll ask some questions that will prompt this beautiful discussion. So I would like to maybe start with OSTEP again. Uh, if you just like a question, have you followed energy codes before? And if yes, how that benefited your community?
Yes, thank you for the question. Of course, I have followed and I am following and will be following and will advise everyone to do so. I have a construction project management background and business background and other various, but my last capacity was in last few years, it's in construction. So now I'm in housing, indigenous housing, and it's sort of the other side, and it helps me to, well, it helped me to develop the broad and holistic view of the situation because I've seen a different construction companies, I've seen a different communities, and I know the struggle that they are going through over the course of each project. And most of the places are all same stories and the same problems. So that's why everyone I strongly believe should be using national building code and the local provincial building codes because it's first of all it is for safety. That's what it was designed for. And once it's built by the code, and you have nothing to worry about. Well, most of the time, except force majeure or whatever happened, like flooding or fire or something like that. But other than that, it makes it so much easier to maintain and makes it so much cheaper as well. Because, relying on the knowledge of housing departments in each community is great, but unfortunately, we all experiencing a lack of training, a lack of understanding of certain things that do change, and building codes do get updated, and that is it is a perfect, not the perfect, it's very good guideline to follow.
Mhm.
So we here in the OTC with other groups and committees, including CMHC and Indigenous Service Canada, First Nation Building Association, official association. and other organizations like Efficiency Manitoba, etc. We encouraging everyone to go over as many courses, the professional development as possible to create and build that knowledge in each community and have a trained professional to perform all the inspections, at least 3 necessary pre-backfill, pre-drywall, and then final walkthroughs, so that any project will be constructed by the code and will have no problems on the longer run, because unfortunately there are some shady builders that are only there to make money. I don't want to accuse anyone in anything, but I believe we all know what we're talking about, and
Mm-hmm.
so things do happen. I do trust people, but quality control is there not just for the control. It's not mistrust. It's that
Mm-hmm.
people can miss things, people can forget things, and the other side of the construction is the drawings and blueprint reading.
Mm-hmm.
Those things very often do not end up on the community table before construction starts,
Mm-hmm.
which should not happen. Any construction company should not stick the shovel in the ground before those drawings were approved. It
Mm-hmm.
has to be stamped drawings for every project. It doesn't matter residential or commercial, especially for commercials, and those things do happen. And then it's a
Mm-hmm.
change orders, then it's extra expenses, etc. So those
Okay.
things are crucial, and yeah, we do encourage everyone to get as many trainings as possible. They are around on the markets. They are very often funded by the governmental
Mm-hmm.
funds,
Yeah,
etc.
we can circle back when if we have some time at the end. Ostapa will get back to you so
Sure.
you can give like some guidance about what grants to apply for, and even like us, right, Eco Canada, we can provide some courses as well, like free of charge for participating communities. So we can circle back into that when we have time at the end. But Savannah, I
Absolutely.
would like to jump it for you because you have such a good story to tell about when you just joined the housing department, right? Because Matachewan used to not follow any code, or correct me if I'm wrong. And then what happened? Just would be awesome hearing that story again.
Sure. So a little bit of background about my community. Prior to my position being created in September of 2024, there was no person dedicated to housing. There was nobody overseeing the department or overseeing any of the projects being done in our community. Um, Recently, I had Kim from Bocro, who was sent up here to do the energy course with me through Eco
Eco
Canada.
Canada, yeah, energy expert would like to call her because she's awesome.
Oh, sorry, energy
No, it's all
expert.
good. No, all good. Yeah, it's all good.
So she was up here just a few weeks ago actually, and we got to see in real time the things that were missed, the things that were done not well, the things that were done that are not helping our community save money but are kind of making them spend more money. And so, like Vanessa was saying, we never did follow, or we never did have anybody to follow up to ensure people and the contractors were following that. And that's something that I hold close to my heart because I could see the condition of the homes that are here. They're old and they're not lasting well. And I want to see my community thrive. I want to see better builds. I want to see better lasting and longer lasting homes so that all of our community members can have a healthy home to live in. If the home is healthy, our people are healthy, and typically healthy people are happier. So I'm just looking forward to going forward with the codes, knowing that I am confident in choosing who is going to build or renovate or whatever. And I'm now more confident to learn how to read the blueprints and the drawings and understand what is good and what could be done better going forward.
Hmm. And when as soon as you got your position, right, as the housing coordinator, like you were receiving a lot of calls and they had the same patterns, right? And
Yeah,
what were the issues that they were talking about?
we have a lot of homes here that are failing, their foundations are failing. There's a lot of mold and moisture problems. There's a lot of homes that also don't have good air quality. They have HRV systems that are installed, but they don't work well, or they eat up a lot of energy, so they just unplug them, creating
Mm-hmm.
more moisture and more potential mold problems. And that seems
Mm-hmm.
to be a common pattern, not just in my nation, but seems to be right across the board.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Yeah, and when you follow the guidelines for the NECB, they definitely tackle that, right? Like how to do everything properly, everything tight,
Hmm.
how the HVAC system should work. So yes, thank you for sharing, Savannah. Now I'm
Hmm.
gonna ask Chantel a question. Um, what were some of the challenges that you faced and overcame, or are still working on solutions to be up to code? Chantel, you're muted.
Thank you.
Oh.
Sorry about that. Um, when I had started in this position, we started out with doing inner guide audits within 10% of our housing stock. We have 360 homes here, so we did about 36, maybe 40 homes. And as we started, we got halfway through and we realized that some of the different concerns and issues that we have come across, especially in our elderly people homes, going into the crawl spaces, finding, leaks and mold and moisture. And that was, to me, very important. That's, something that they never even knew that was even happening in their home, which is the health of their home. This is what they're breathing in, the air quality. So when it comes down to it, it's the health and safety of the occupants in that home. And like Savannah was saying, a healthy home, we have happy people, and that was the biggest concern there. And so with that, following up with the inner guide audits, we have done air quality testing to check to see the levels and everything in these homes and to see what the occupants are breathing in, and mold is mold. And that's the biggest issue that we have come across. And now that we have this data, we are able to move forward in trying to remedy these homes, get rid of that mold and fix the issues and fix them properly so that, we're not constantly going back and may, um, how would I say it? Going back and fixing the same issue over and over once it's done the first time, that's a cost savings as well, not only for the homeowner, but if these are band owned homes, that's a cost savings for our maintenance too as well on our band rentals. So a lot of the concerns is because we do have extreme weather here, we do have flooding within our homes, and that's where it all comes from. Especially I think about our vulnerable people, our elderly people, our young children, ones that do have these health issues that had no idea that these things were going on in our homes. So, and like OSAP and Savannah had said, like these issues are across the board in First Nations homes because when it comes to codes, some of these houses are built to the bare minimum. Let's just get it done. And then that's where it costs more to maintain these homes because they're not built right the first time. And I will always refer to a coach at Indigenous Clean Energy: build tight, ventilate right, and make sure that building envelope is built properly so that these homes do last longer, for instead of like 15 years or something. Some should be lasting longer than that. So that's the biggest issue here is majority of our homes are full of mold and moisture.
And Chantel, can you tell that story again? That when you guys decided to follow that the NECB about the cost savings, how much one of I think yeah I don't
Oh,
remember the
yes,
story,
we
but
did.
yeah
We
that story is like wow yeah.
we did a pilot project on a home here in our nation. We have one near net zero home here, and that was doing all the different upgrades to this home to make it energy efficient, and um, draft proofing. We've upgraded, the machines in there, the HRV systems, solar panels were put on her roof to meet the projected target of this home so that, like in the end, after over a year of collecting that data, she's saving over $2,000 on her utility bills now because this home was done right to the energy code so that there is no leaks and there is no mold, there is no moisture coming in these homes no more. It is built tight and ventilated right. And she loves it. It's amazing to
Hmm.
see, and I'd love to see that within all First Nations,
Hmm.
anywhere in Canada, all over the world. We should have that right to have that healthy home, and where it is efficient. And, because the cost of living right now is so high, if you can save money on your
Yeah.
utility bills, and let's do it. Of course, it might cost a little more to get to that point, but in the end, the return is very, very, very good. Our people are saving money. They're not having to dish out. They're not having to choose between food or utilities. It's affordable for them.
Mm-hmm. And on that segue, Chantel, can you just let me know what do they use to heat their house? What is
Uh,
the
it's a
it's
heat pump now.
oh,
Everything's
it's
been
a heat
converted.
pump.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Because most some of indigenous communities still have the diesel ones, right? That there's like a lot of spillage, and so it's nice to know that the transitions for the heat pumps.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's what we're trying to get to, right? To eliminate these gases like the propane, the gas,
Yeah.
everything like that, just to get to the net zero. And
Mm-hmm.
it's better for the environment as well, right? So
Absolutely.
if we
Yes.
can get our homes to that point, I'm just, that's a dream. That's something
Mm-hmm.
that I'm working towards within our nation for our people.
Beautiful. Yeah. Awesome. Okay. So another questions that I have here. Um, I don't. Maybe Ostap would be good to answer that one. I'm just guessing. But how do you translate what you learn at the NECB? Like, how do you translate that physically in building it? What are the things that you look at? Like, let's say for Windows, for instance, or isolation. Like, how
Well,
it?
once you have this vision in your mind, in your head, you just follow the key points, I would say. You look and you
Hmm.
know what you're looking at. That's why
Hmm.
it's crucial to have this understanding. I'll repeat myself, but sorry, but that's how it works. Once you learn how to do it, you coming in, you see the foundation, and you see if it's done right. You know what to measure. You know what should be right, what should be leveled, and what the allowance is, how it should be done,
Hmm.
and how much is possible to take and carry on, and what is not acceptable at all and need to be redone. And this is a very common problem. I wouldn't talk about the isolation, because isolation normally you can see, but like
Hmm.
with the foundations, that's where everyone should use the qualified expertise, because that you cannot see with the bare eye very often. If you don't know how to measure it, if you don't know how to adjust and justify things like that, it can be a major problem, because when it starts wrong from the foundation, the whole building wouldn't be right. And
Hmm.
it is very, very easy, very easy to do and very difficult to fix. And we coming across this
Hmm.
with our, we helping well, my other program, school maintenance training. Our trainers going around, but we serving 44 schools in 32 communities across Manitoba. So that's a half of Manitobans community. That's a lot
Hmm.
of travel, a lot of work to do, and we see in different things, and we see in like the school, how schools can be built, or school offices, and this is a lot of things like that are not right. And those cowboys, I don't want to say, don't get me wrong, but some people are like that, and that's why I'm advocating everywhere I go, so as much education as we can. And
Hmm.
even so, what I know from I learned from colleagues from North communities, that what they do, they implementing such programs into the schools. So kids will know how to
Oh,
operate and how to use every single appliance in the house. That's what Chantel just mentioned. People don't know how to, and Savannah,
maintenance.
people don't know
Yeah.
how to use HRVs, how to use the heat pumps, how to use the geothermal, how to use the right even window closing and opening, when they should be open, when they should be closed, when your HRV is running, your windows should be closed, and things like that, etc. You can go on and on. And so if
Hmm.
those kids do know how to use their cell phones, they know how to use their tablets, whatever, it's those things are much easier to use. But when they grow up, they get their first house, the rent, mostly the rented property, but they don't know how to use and operate such simple things, and not from my perspective, right, and yours.
Hmm. Hmm.
But this should
Yeah.
start
Interesting.
from the childhood, and I will be
Hmm.
pushing this idea forward as much as I can, because that's the only way to go. and it's it's
Mm-hmm.
it's going to make it so much easier.
Absolutely.
But this is
Yeah.
the other that's the other problem we heading into. I don't want to get into this. It's going to be a long conversation. So yes, answering to your question briefly, if you want again, uh, knowing the book, it's easier to look for the key points where it's
Mm-hmm.
right and where is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah.
all I can say.
And one of the trainers of Eco Canada teaches you exactly that, how to read the book, and then you can teach like the builders how to build it properly, right? And there's
Yes,
another
well,
question that,
that Danica on a train the trainer program. That's the other
yeah,
thing that we're working on
look at,
with
yeah,
maintenance as well.
yeah. Okay, so that's where I want to expand a little bit, because change is difficult, right? For like not just indigenous communities, like for everyone. When you're used to doing something all the time and that's how you learn, how do you inspire people, or how do you tell them like, no, we should be following something here for the greater good? How do you change the perspective?
Well, it's easy. You have to show people the benefits and explain the benefits. Show them
Mm-hmm.
the disadvantages of what they do and right now and how much they lose. Like for example, if you take the rented property house, which is the rent normally it's around $200, right? And that rent does not cover any maintenance whatsoever. If that house is 6, 7+ years old, the maintenance cost will be
Mm-hmm.
way more than the incoming money. And people in the communities are very often being mistaken, thinking that they, you know, developing a revenue or by collecting the rent. But if they, when they find out how much they spend, they picture changes. That's what we're working on right now, building a database with all the information for each community, so they will know by each house address how much they spend over the years, how much it costs,
Oh.
and everything, all the income and outcome and money. So all those things are very important, but I don't want to go there again. We're talking about the building codes. So you show them the disadvantages when it was not built right from the scratch, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And how much they spent. And if it wouldn't happen, if it would be built right, as Chantal said, built tight and ventilated right, that's how much less they will spend.
Mm-hmm.
It, if that the homeowners from the community, or that's the abandoned houses. So in that case, we showing this to the governance, to the chiefs and councils, and discuss this with them. So because they understand and they know well the problems.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
they constantly searching for help, but they are very busy. So we as a tribal council are there for them.
I see. Well, thank you, Ostap. And anybody else would like to add on anything else, or just share some other things that I didn't cover in the questions? No?
I talk too much anyway, so I will better be
I
quiet.
I have a little bit, Todd, just like with when it comes to building codes and like even just, doing maintenance on a home, some of these contractors that do come in, they, um, I can talk about a situation where one of the attics, all the vents were completely covered.
All right. Yeah.
And if we hadn't, partnered with London Environmental Network and did a nonprofit resiliency project to take a look at these homes, we would have never known that there was mold and moisture up there due to the vents being covered. So with that program, we are able to fix that, get that mold cleaned out and put in new insulation, put in those venting systems that need to be there because this was a duplex and this is a duplex with young children in there. And, I'm just thankful for opportunities to work with other organizations like that come in and, show us how things need to be done. And, being able to do these types of projects within our nation, it was, an eye opener for me. Like how many other homes are like this, how many other homes did this local contractor do this to? And, so it kind of like opened up a can of worms and
Mm,
wondering like, but at the same time, thankful because, how long was that roof going to last if it continued to be that way? And now that
mm-hmm.
it's fixed, fixed properly and it's ventilated properly, the health of the people in those homes is even better now too, because they're not breathing in that black mold. It's not moisture up there no more, like even just turning on their bathroom fans, it was just adding up to it, like it was an
Yeah.
eye opener just for being able to see those types of things that, this stuff is real. It does happen, and it's probably
Mm-hmm.
not in every First Nation, but it's probably in a majority of the homes across the
Mm-hmm.
board, So I really am thankful for those opportunities to network and work with other organizations that come in and, support the kinds of things that we're trying to do within our nation.
And how many houses that happened to that the vents were covered?
I'm going to say about six, maybe.
Oh God, yeah.
Maybe give or take,
Uh-huh.
like I
Uh-huh.
just know that duplex and then yeah, maybe about that many.
Mm-hmm.
So it was
Wow.
just
Yeah.
like, oh wow, like things like that, need to like have that follow up and like Ostap said, having that final walkthrough or the inspection being done and stuff like that. There's little
Mm-hmm.
things, not little things, there's things that are left undone and that
Mm-hmm.
type of thing. It just there was no follow up.
Mm-hmm. So, would you guys like to add anything else? If not, then I'll circle back to OSTEP, so he can talk a little bit more about the auditors. Savannah? Yes.
Yeah, just before we move on, I just want to, drive home what Ostap and Chantal are saying. The inspections are so important. It's important to follow through with all this, and it's so important to know what to look for because, people forget stuff. People make mistakes. And if there's more than one person that can overlook things, the more chances we can fix them before they become a huge problem. And so, like what Ostap and Chantal are saying, like I can't agree more, and I can't drive home that fact any more than they have. But hopefully, third is the charm, like three people telling you or advising you or helping you understand that it's so important. Because I just recently got all the homes in our community inspected professionally, and it brought to light so many things that if you don't know, you wouldn't know, right? And so having that third person, having somebody there to help you, or even somebody to train you to look for these things is so helpful. And ultimately, it'll just help everybody be better in the long run.
Mm, awesome. Thank you, Savannah. Thank you, Chantel, for sharing that. So yeah, I'll step. Since we're talking a little bit before the presentation started about auditing, so yes, talk a little bit to us about the program
The
that you.
inspections, you mean, right?
Sorry, yes, the inspection. What did I say? The audits? Anyways, but the inspections and the auditing, right? Are they different? Huh, maybe you can answer me that. There you go.
Yeah, it
Okay,
is
so
a little
yes.
different.
Oh, and you can talk about the grants as well for all that stuff. So thank you, Ostap.
Well, yeah, no problem. So there are different programs around. It depends on which province you in, and you should search around and reach out to Indigenous Service Canada and reach out to First Nation Housing Building Association and other organizations like that that are related to the community construction, building, and education, and find out what's available for the education for getting trained as much as possible. If there are courses available to become as we have now, we'll be happy to have one course started in Manitoba for the building inspector, for certified building inspectors for First Nation communities, and it's fully funded by ISK. Thank you for that. But yeah, hopefully it's not the last one, but just the first one. But if something like that is available, I know it's just another course started in Alberta as well, another one other province. I unfortunately forgot and don't want to mislead you. But even
Saskatchewan.
if that is not available, it's there are other bits of information online, everything you can search for before if you are a housing manager, if you need to perform any kind of inspection, like any one of the three, the necessary ones, I repeat again, it's a pre-backfill, pre-drywall, and final walkthrough with the construction, either a project manager or anyone in charge of that project on the side of a construction. Be sure you have that person there to ask the questions and be prepared. So dig for every bit of information that you can search. There are so many helpers are now, like if you're using the artificial intelligence, any of those things can
Oh.
help you with the right questions to ask and the right spots to look at. You don't need to read through the book because it's huge. National Building Code and provincial building codes, they are big books. They now are easier to read the last few years because they have electronic versions, so you don't have to actually
Mm.
swipe the pages. You can reach out to the direct chapter or whatever page you need. Uh, but anyway, it's a lot of reading, but simplify it for yourself. Use any mm, method that works best for you. So that is my
Mhm.
advice to everyone. And as much knowledge that you can gather, the better will be and beneficial for your communities and your people.
Awesome.
Because yep, well, it's all about safety. It's about health. It's about future of the children and a good rest of the lives for the older people. Because well,
Mm-hmm.
we all deserve a good life and good house. But it's the crucial thing in a good life. So,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I heard like scary stories. I don't know dedicated to which community, but sometimes they're paying mortgages, like 30 years mortgage for a house that lasts only 5 years. I was just like, my heart was broken. I was like, oh my God, like, yes. So, yeah, the following energy codes helps for all that situation.
as indeed.
Yeah. So I will just ask if anybody have something else to add, and if not, then I'll just start with the questions. But please, Savannah, Chantel, anything else to add or step, like to talk about more of the benefits? Anything else that you see in the communities that you would talk about? Oh, go ahead, Chantel.
I just like to talk about like being able to complete some of these inner guide audits within our homes. It was an eye opener to see the different concerns that were going on. Also, when I had started in this position, we have a community energy plan that was based on assumption. And now that we gathered that data, we are able to update our community energy plan based on real life experiences that is, fit for our community and our members. And, you know, just like I was just surprised, because when I first read that community energy plan, I was just like, oh, okay. Then, in that plan, it said most of our homes were, built to code, and that's not the issue. So we're able to now update our community energy plan because we have that data, we've gathered that data, and we know what the needs are within our nation, within our homes, and for our people, the members.
Where did you find this and the knowledge about the community energy codes, Chantel?
Just through training. I was
Huh.
a project steward with Indigenous Clean Energy, part of their Project Accelerator program, and it was we had to go on sites and do like sometimes we're doing 2 hours training that was like meant for 2 weeks condensed into 2 hours. So
Oh
a lot
my
of that
God.
training, it was a lot. But
Uh-huh.
and just like from not only from them but through Blue House Energy and seat, taking different training courses and just gaining that knowledge and understanding the different things that need to come within this job, and to identify what it is that I need to do, not just myself, but I do have a team. We are able to expand
Mm-hmm.
our team into 2 youth mentors, where I think that is most important because we're all not getting any younger, and to build that capacity and share that knowledge and the experiences and let them follow you through. That's important to me because they're our future leaders. That's our next generation. They're the ones that are going to be carrying these things out. So with all
Absolutely.
of that, now that I'm kind of mentoring them, it's been a great time just to be able to bring them in and show them the different things, and then to see them being able to do these different house assessments and get involved and learn how to do inner guide audits, how to put the blower door tests up and stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that. To me,
Wow.
building that capacity within our own nation is very important to us. So yes,
Yeah.
I'm very thankful for having our young people that want to get involved and want to learn and want to be a part of this, because it is for future generations.
Yeah, and it's building the workforce within the community too, right? So you don't need
Absolutely.
to get all the services from outside and paying so much money. So yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
What would you Savannah. Yeah, go ahead, Savannah. Then I'll pass it to you, Ostap.
Oops, sorry about the mute. Um, I like that Chantel mentioned the Blue Energy courses, and I also want to reiterate how awesome being part of the Eco Canada group is, because had I
Oh.
not come in contact with you guys at one of my knowledge sharing conferences, I don't know that I would be where I am. I don't know that I would know how to confidently hire people to do good work and to know the difference between certain materials and what is better for the homes versus what is more expensive just for nothing, right? So, like Chantal said, like Ostap said, like Vanessa says, the important thing is to get education or to get knowledge. Reach out to anybody that is in these organizations. Everybody is so friendly and they've helped me. I've had people help me from the West Coast to the East Coast. I've even had somebody from the Yukon help me to guide me in the right directions to build better for our community. And I'm happy to share everything I know with anybody. So if you do have questions or if you do want good connections, I can help you with the people who helped me. And lean on your support systems, lean on these training programs. Often they're free or reduced cost to us in First Nations. So just take advantage. Take advantage of every opportunity you can to learn how to do better so your community can be better.
Oh, thank you, Savannah. That's all. Thank you. You made me very happy to hear. Thank you very much. And it's not only for the First Nations, it's also for the Inuit and for the Métis. We don't have any of these communities involved yet because we're still reaching out to some communities. So please come forward, Métis, Inuvict. I
Inuit,
how Innovate, thank you.
Inuit,
So please, yeah, please reach
Inuit.
out. We'll love to help you guys set up for for success as well. So go ahead, Ostap.
No, just a couple of words to add to what Chantal says about energy efficiency. Yes, the world is moving, and Canada is as well net zero ready, and that's going to happen
Hmm.
very shortly. So we all should be prepared to it, and well, you know, many construction companies shaking their boots about it because it's going to be more education and more work for them, and some which are which are smarter, they moving ahead was starting before it will become mandatory, but it will and it should, because the resources that we are using from this planet, they are not endless. And if we're not going to stop overusing it, abusing it, basically, it's going to lead us to the disaster. And we don't want this to
Hmm.
happen for our children or for our grandchildren,
Hmm.
because the world should not end after we end, and that's what we should think about as well. And
Hmm.
even the houses that we built, they shouldn't last like 10, 15 years. They should last 50, 60 years. That's what
For
they are
sure.
built for. That's how people used to build, and really been forgotten for some reason.
Hmm.
And house get ruined with the moisture, with the mold, with whatever you name it, termites and something like that, because of sometimes lack of knowledge, just basic
Hmm.
lack of knowledge. So that's what we should work on. And in the era that we living in right now, with when communication is made so easy with all the resources that we have, the internet provides us with, uh, it's much easier to get the information that we need than it used to be. So reach out to whoever you can reach out to and find
Hmm.
out.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, the resources are there, and we are trying our best to get to it to show you guys that good stuff is here. So please use it. If you come across, use it. It's there for you. Awesome. Well, thank you very much for the discussions. It was fantastic. I super loved the opportunity that you guys accepted to be here to help me spread the awareness and just to tell the success stories behind all of that. So that made me very happy. Thank you very much. So now, Haley, we can open for the questions.
Yeah, thank you all so much. That was a great conversation, very insightful. We do have multiple questions here. Just a reminder, all attendees, if you have any more questions, put them in the chat box. This is the time we'll be going through them. So, first question we have for Chantel, and this person wants to know how close was the retrofit to net zero?
We're probably about like 85% there. I would say. It's very close. And, that's our goal. Like Ostap was saying, it's not only just within First Nations, it's across the board where we want to get to that net zero, where, our homes produce as much energy as it consumes. So with one home, it's a start.
Absolutely. Another question, I'm not sure who wants to answer this one, but someone asks, how do energy codes impact building design and construction?
I think that's our step answer.
Can you repeat the question, please?
Yeah, how do energy codes impact building design and construction?
Well, they do not. They impact the price mostly, not the design. Because when you choose the different type of insulation, it will be the same thickness. It's going to be just better insulation. So if you will, I mean, same with the windows, they wouldn't become bigger. They will become thicker.
Mm.
So instead of 2 pane, you will get 3 pane. Same with the doors. You either choose the cheap residential doors or you choose the good doors, which have a good locks, depending on the area you live in. It is crucial as well because you're losing a lot of heat or a lot of cold air if it's warm and if you need to run the AC like here in Manitoba we do, and that it just you losing money. You heating or cooling the area around you instead of using it for your house. So
Mhm.
it does not affect the design unless it does a little bit when you switching from HRV to high velocity. But then again, it's all matter of putting it into place before you start because retrofitting it's usually more expensive when you start it from the scratch when you're just designing a house.
Mhm.
And that's why I'm always advocating for all of First Nations to be involved in the design stage, because which is normally does not happen. And here you go, that's what you have. It's not
Mhm.
right because well, because of a different, even the cultural specifics of each nation and what people like. They should be involved in this. It depends who it's built for. Is that for a younger family, older family, 55 plus, you name it, and different things, different stages, and and all that should be discussed beforehand. So that's why we need to learn how to read this, how to understand that, and be involved as much as possible.
Amazing. Awesome.
Thank you. Kind of building off of that, someone asked, do you work with Indigenous architecture firms?
Our communities do, yeah.
Here in Matachewan, we fall under the Anishinaabe Nation, and they have their own housing strategy, which they've graciously shared with us. So we haven't used them yet, but that is the plan going forward. So they took the kind of the best of all the nations under their umbrella and kind of combined them into like a nice booklet for us to kind of base our ideas off of, or give us something to think about that maybe we missed or didn't think to think of. So I'm grateful to the NAN housing strategy. And I really look forward to going forward with that. They have cultural designs, they have cultural kitchens integrated into it, and they also follow the energy building codes.
Thank you, Savannah. Chantel, go ahead.
Sorry, I didn't mean to have my hand up for that.
Ah,
I meant
no
to I
problem.
meant to
It's
give a
just a
thumbs
wave.
up
Hello.
with that question. I'm sorry.
All good. No problem. Okay. Next question.
Yeah, someone else is asking if these energy codes help with the wildlife and animals in the community.
Oh,
In what way? That's an
maybe,
interesting question about a
yeah.
wildlife.
Um, can I grasp something? Because some houses rely on generators and they are super loud, so the wildlife will be impacted by it, and also the generators spew a lot of um, diesel and right, so it seeps in the surface and contaminates water and stuff. But somebody can expand on that. Maybe that was just a thought.
I guess like for where I'm at right now, I'm in a fairly new build, and like I said, it was, some of these homes are built to the bare minimum and we don't have proper drainage. So we are, it's wastewater, and my sump pump runs 24/7. So if you want to think about like the environment on the outside of my house of that water just sitting there in the open and what it would do for the wildlife, sometimes it's breeding grounds for mosquitoes, algae, mold, everything. It wouldn't be good for our pets to consume either because it's all wastewater. So I would say that building to an energy code is very important if you want to think about our four-legged creatures. It's important to me anyways because I don't know, we could have raccoons, we could have rabbits out here that are getting into that contaminated water, and
Mm-hmm.
they're taking it to their babies, they're feeding their young ones and stuff like that. So I would think that, it's important to think about that too as well because it is an environmental issue as well.
Oh, and actually expanding on that, since the houses following the energy code are supposed to like they last longer, the
Mhm.
least amount of raw materials to keep rebuilding in, it's there too. So then you leave nature, give nature time to breathe and recoup versus just getting and getting and getting to fix and then break in 3 years, you know? So that's a
Energy.
good, yeah, that's a good way of seeing it too.
Yeah.
One more thing is the energy efficient houses, they produce less carbon dioxide,
That
so
too. Yeah.
less
Yes, they
CO.
do.
That is the main thing for environment that we're trying to preserve. So
Yeah,
it does.
climate
Yeah.
change has been impacting a lot of indigenous communities, especially more in the north,
Exactly.
right? Like with people that depend on land, like on water and rivers, and yeah, it's just a mess up there. I read a testimonial or watch a video. It was heartbreaking. Like we need the ice, and there's no more ice. Like how can we survive this, right? So affects that too for sure. Yeah. Okay, next question.
So we have a few questions from people just wondering how they can get more involved who don't necessarily already work in this field, but we have a petroleum geologist wondering how they can get involved, and someone else just from Quebec wondering where they can go, who they can reach out to in order to get involved in this kind of
Mhm.
industry.
So I don't understand involved how. Um, but we're definitely searching for energy champions. So if you are passionate about the an energy and find a community that would be needing that kind of guidance in navigating the codes, that would be something you could be involved with. But for the Quebec, actually, we have a toolkit dedicated just for the Francophone users, like the Francophone speakers. I don't know if it's right to say, but the please correct me if I'm wrong. Just yeah. So because the zone that the Francophones are on the north more, so there's a toolkit dedicated just for this part. So get a hold of me and we can talk more about that as well, about how you can get involved in, maybe you can pilot the toolkit for us to see if addresses all the concerns you have. So yeah, email me and can talk more about it. And hopefully for the petroleum engineer, hopefully I answered your question, or maybe you could clarify a little bit more on how do you see that you could support or get involved.
Yeah, thanks, Vanessa. Yeah, so I've put Vanessa's email in the chat, so definitely reach out to her if you have any questions on things like that. She's a great resource, and so are all the people who were on the panel today. So all the emails are in the chat. Um, we have another question. Do you also receive support and partnership opportunities with local architect schools for maybe training purposes and things like that moving forward?
Anybody can jump in to answer. Go on, Savannah.
I just recently did a project management kind of crash course, and that was offered to me through Anishinaabe Nation, but they partnered with Toronto Metropolitan University and with the Learn Together organization. They also partner with a lot of schools and universities around the country. I know they had some co-op students who followed some architectural and some building schools, classes down at Waterloo University or the University of Guelph. Those students seem to come highly recommended from everybody that I've spoken to. I can't speak for other provinces, but I can kind of speak a little bit for Ontario. But if you can, I'd reach out to Jamie at Metropolitan University. He's a great resource, and he's traveled all throughout Ontario to deliver some of these courses and to bring awareness to some of these more remote communities.
Thank you, Savannah.
That's awesome. That's our question time. Vanessa, if you want
Mhm.
to
Yeah,
summarize.
actually, shout out to Teddy Michael. He just emailed me saying that he's enjoying so much and the insights of this webinar was fantastic. So thanks for being so quick and emailing me. I'm very happy with the feedback. And I don't know, do you guys have anything else to add? If not, then we can wrap up early.
I just want to say thank you for this opportunity, being able to work with Eco Canada, yourself, Vanessa, Pooja. It's been a great little, couple months now that we've introduced ourselves to each other.
Mm-hmm.
And, just being able to become a part of this webinar and share some of the experiences and our own knowledge that we do have, um, yeah, it's nice to be able to share this kind of stuff with other people and, the ones that are interested and get involved in this type of work. I started out just by watching the webinars starting out when they were doing the work with the net zero home here. And that's where I sparked my interest in energy efficiency and all of this, the retrofits, the deep retrofits and stuff like that. And, finding out the different opportunities for everyone that's available. So
Yeah.
thank you, Miigwech, for this.
Mm. Thank you, Chantel. Yeah. I'm so happy too that the collaboration in between the communities is something that can happen too, right? Like everybody's ready to help everyone, and this is so fantastic and so thankful for it too. So thanks for being here, sharing your emails, be willing to answer questions. So I appreciate you all for sure.
Thank you for having, thank you for the invitation, and looking forward to future collaboration projects. Reach out anytime. Be happy to
Awesome.
help.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you to everybody as well. Like, I can't tell you how grateful I am, especially since I'm starting a whole department from scratch. I had no direction. So this has been just fantastic from my point of view as well. So thank you for inviting me. Thank you for having me. Thank you for teaching me.
Thank
Awesome.
you so much, Chantel, Savannah, Ostap, and Vanessa for facilitating. This was a great conversation. We're getting a lot of thank yous and applauses from the chat and participants. So thank you guys so much. Thanks everyone for coming today. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Yes. Thank you, everyone.
Bamapi, Miigwech.